What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Joystick Ayrton. My name is Ayrton. Last video we did was talking about my horrific experience with the Rog Ally and how I returned it 2 times and then I decided to get another one. But this time we're talking about the GPD Win 4 and the absolutely insane experience that I had with my 6800U model that I just got. So we'll dive deep into that and what could be happening to people that are backing the 7840U version on Indiegogo. So let's go ahead and dive into it. Okay, so I have this problem that once I get a hobby, whatever that hobby might be, I fall off the deep end and just end up just accumulating so many of them that it makes absolutely no sense. So after returning the ROG Ally and having a Best Buy gift card, I was like, you know what? I'm kind of just interested in making this channel. It's fun. I'm having a good time editing videos again, playing with these devices. Let's keep this thing, see where it goes, and see what kind of cool content we might be able to make with it in the future. So that was another reason that I wanted to get the GPD Win 4. This thing looks awesome. It in its handheld PSP-like shape, full-fledged keyboard for Windows, with an optical mouse down there on the bottom. This thing just enticed me from seeing it the first time when I saw a Linus review of it. So this isn't going to be like a hardware review. We're going to talk about that later in a different video, talking about just kind of the hardware, the performance, the 7840U, and so on and so forth. But this video is all about how I bought one off Aliexpress. It showed up the craziest kind of like startup I've ever seen of a computer before, and then ultimately how it was defective, and how maybe I should just get out of the handheld PC gaming market altogether, because the first Steam Deck I had a bad battery, that whole situation that was going on, so they RMA'd it and we swapped that. And then I've only exchanged the ROG Ally 3 times, although this one I've had no SD card issues, so maybe I'll keep it. But we'll see about that as well. And then the GPD Win 4, I paid $211 US in DHL shipping to send it back to Hong Kong to GPD in hopes that they're going to do an exchange for me and send that back. And we'll talk about that a little bit more later in the video, but there's really nothing, they don't have to send me anything back, because the only option I had through AliExpress was a full return, get my money back, or I could do an exchange with GPD themselves, but that would result in me just kind of having an honor system with them. AliExpress isn't involved at all. So we'll talk more about that, and hopefully everything rectifies itself. It should be there in about 5 days. But the GPD Win 4, awesome. I absolutely love the form factor. And the 6-inch screen, it looks small when you're just holding the device, but actually because of how small the device is, when you're holding it, it really doesn't feel as small of a screen. Like, I had a better time playing like Apex Legends on it than I have on either 2 of these devices. So I thought that was really interesting, and I think that's just how much closer my hands were to each other. But with all of that aside, when playing any first-person shooter, the device would jump back and forth between mouse mode and gamepad mode. So I didn't notice it really when I was playing Dark Souls or Assassin's Creed, but inside of Halo or Apex, it would just flicker back and forth on its own. So I had it set to gamepad mode. I'm going through Halo, and we'll pull the video up here on screen. Everything's fine. I'm playing on Legendary, and boom, the game thinks I switched to mouse mode. It halts me for 2 to 3 seconds. I normally die, and then it goes back to gamepad mode, and I'm good to go again. And this happens about every 15 to 20 seconds, sometimes more frequent, sometimes less frequent. Happens in Apex as well. I was going to test Doom and Wolfenstein, but I've already pretty much got the gist of that it's happening in all of them, and I'm not sure why. So I went to Reddit, I went to YouTube, I went to every source where I could find information about this device specifically, to see what can I do to try to solve this issue, because Halo was unplayable, Red Dead Redemption would be unplayable, all these games that I really wanted to try on it, just completely unplayable because of that. So it had some weird things happening in Diablo 4 as well. So I decided, all right, we're going to just do a complete fresh install. But first, let's try a couple things. So I played with this keyboard all the way out, so screen up, and I start playing, and it doesn't seem to have an issue. Now, it happened twice when playing in that configuration, but I kind of was able to say, you know, for whatever reason, the device isn't having an issue when the screen is pushed all the way up. So I thought that was really interesting. And in that, I was like, okay, maybe, just maybe I'm lucky, and this is just software related. So now let's talk about the steps I took to try to rectify this problem. Okay, so I'm in a different clothing and the lighting might be a tad bit different, and that's because my camera died and I couldn't find the charger, so I had to order one off Amazon, and here we are on the next day. But with that being said, I tried to look for a bunch of information out there. I went to different channels, the Phawx, Retro Game Corps, Fan the Deck, and a bunch of other people looking for solutions here. I commented on Reddit, I went to Discord threads, and I couldn't find any information, and very few people really willing to give me any kind of response. And I thought it was kind of interesting. Usually bigger YouTube guys have like a kind of like a contact us page of some kind where you can like shoot them an email, and if they have time, maybe they'll see it. I didn't dig too deep, but I couldn't find one for anybody, which I thought was interesting just because coming from like the computer hardware side, you can email GN, you can email LTT, and yeah, more than likely they won't get back to you, but you can at least send a question to Jay or something, and maybe if it's something crazy, you might get a response of some kind. But nothing but chirping crickets. So I went on and did a fresh install. I completely installed Windows from the ground up, and I thought, this is going to fix it. It's going to be software related. It has to be. Unfortunately, it wasn't, so that led me to filing a dispute through Aliexpress to get an exchange. Well, unfortunately, Aliexpress only will do full returns, where luckily I wouldn't have to pay for shipping, but I'm not getting anything in return. So I've worked out a deal with GPD themselves where I'm going to send it back to them, and they're going to send it back to me, but nobody's involved. It's just kind of an honor code. When it gets to them, hopefully they send me one back. If they don't, I'm kind of just out of luck, and it's just taking my screenshot of messages from them and just giving my story out there to everyone. But this just kind of brings me to the point of this whole video where gaming handhelds are, even though they're great and they're innovative and they're taking us different places, they're still a little bit behind on the hardware side. And I don't mean that in performance or anything like that, but there's tends to be more issues than not. And especially with like AYN and GPD and all these Chinese companies, it's really hard to get any kind of support. I went through Aliexpress just because I felt like that was my best avenue. Indiegogo, I'd pretty much be flying by the tail of my seat trying to get in contact with them. So Aliexpress, I felt like it was a little bit safer. I had a line of communication. With Asus, you have Best Buy, and that works out fairly well, but go into your local Best Buy and tell me how many Rog Allies are open box, because there is an incredible amount of them being returned, which is a good thing for the fact that the consumer has an option. I can go get my money back. Maybe I got the 3-year protection plan. Maybe I was within the return period and I was able to get my money back. With Valve, they are by far the most consumer-friendly handheld on the market, better than Nintendo, who's been screwing us with Joy-Cons for, what is it, 4 or 5 years now? But Valve is usually pretty good. I got an RMA through them, and it took about a week, and they just exchanged the device. So that was awesome. So the moral of this video, besides, hey, I had this issue, and I'm still trying to get that rectified and see what it is, getting into this space is a little bit difficult, and you kind of need to have that. It's not just a Nintendo Switch. It's not just an Xbox. You're going to have some hiccups and some hurdles to go through. So I want to know what your experience is with any handheld that you've had, whether that's the Steam Deck, whether it's the AYN, whichever 1000th model they've made, the GPD Win 4. Maybe you know something about this issue, switching between gamepad mode and mouse mode, that I don't know and I couldn't find. And I'm going to keep doing research, and I'm going to do an update to this video when I get everything figured out, hopefully with GPD. So thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below, and we'll be back in the next one.